me break Mr. Rogers' babble down a bit. I do not know much about this worm, but to my knowledge, with the bear and the whale, he did not harm the life, liberty, or property of a single person. He does have the support of the person who lowered inflation, brought back jobs, and was only a racist and misogynist once he ran as a Republican. Mr. Rogers just loves his babble. It is hard to believe some things. I, for one, find it hard to believe that people still believe this falsified phone call. Instead, we need to worry about the balance that came in at 3 in the morning. That is where the real danger is. Let me break Mr. Bowling's gibberish down a bit. If this character were just holding a sign like that, he would be fine. However, his protest involves burning down buildings and setting up autonomous zones without the police. Protest on your own time. While on the field, you are a paid performer. People pay you to do a job. Democrats fired people who protested mask and vaccine mandates. But I forget, Black Crimes Matter activists are special. They are allowed to protest on the job. He does not protest, he burns down buildings and calls for the police to be abolished. If you see a mob of arsonists, force may be necessary. If you see that people have dissolved a government, stronger force may be necessary. The governors requested the National Guard to these cities and states. However, I believe that most of the rioters were just arrested. Yes, they can protest. They just cannot riot. Mr. Bowling just loves his gibberish. Women have all of the reproductive rights that they had going all the way back to Susan B. Anthony. If they want to reproduce, they can, and nobody will stop them. With Amy Coney Barrett, I forgot that any woman who disagrees with Democrats obviously wants to enslave women. And Mr. Jones is still perpetuating the fake news about Kavanaugh. Women still have reproductive rights, but they are not free from the consequences of their reproduction. So one more liberal thinks that the landlord does nothing. I am sure that the tenant will maintain the property himself, will pay the property taxes, and will handle all of the paperwork himself. Imagine what the bank would say if you did not pay your mortgage. He is just doing a job that you agreed to pay him for. So in other words, people are voting for more inflation, not to mention more taxes, and more regulations. That only makes finding a job harder. This is why I question whether or not liberals think. Although she is a communist, and Mr. Bennett is invoking communist imagery. Completely inaccurate. Rich people only get rich because people buy their things. If you do not support rich people, stop buying their things. Then see how many people fall below the poverty line as unemployment skyrockets.